Okay, so this is Prank Kid Duelist. I'm going to point out 3 good tips for rogue duelists. Number 1 is learn the meta. The meta is something that any player should know. However, rogue duelists need to know a lot more because your deck does not do as well as the meta decks. So you have to know how to counter them. You have to know what your opponent would be playing, what to expect when it comes to tech options, what to expect when it comes to generic rules of thumb of the decks. So what I recommend is actually just play the deck. If you don't have the money for the deck, go ahead and just play it online. Test all the decks that are competitive for 3-4 hours a piece, and you'll know how to stop their combos. You'll know when you're supposed to be able to be stopped in your combos, because you're either going to lose because your opponent stopped you, or you'll be able to realize that there is a very vulnerable point in every deck where if you stop them at one certain point, they will lose. And that will be very important for Prank Kid players, or in general, any players, because knowing the meta is the most important part of this game. Number 2, make sure that you know your deck. Make sure that you know the combos. The problem about being competitive with a rogue deck is if you don't know how to play your deck, you're just going to lose a lot more. Things like Necros, Mermails, Inzectors, Prank Kids, Metal Foes. All of these decks have a huge combo string, or they are very skill heavy, so you just need to learn how to play this deck, the proper interactions, and when to do it. So if you're playing a combo deck, learn the basic combos, learn the advanced combos. This will help you in a lot of situations. However, we need to also point out that these decks can also run a lot of the meta cards. So if you can find a way to get a hold of these meta cards, it's going to be a lot easier for you. This game is very, very top heavy when it comes to the meta. So you need to start working harder to make your deck better. And then number 3 is playtest. Playtest is the most important part of your deck, because even if you're playing against rogue players, you become more skilled with what you're going to draw. You become more skilled in the possible hands and options. Obviously, running through combos is basically the same thing. However, playtesting lets you understand interaction between decks, lets you understand the thought process of what players can be thinking of. One of the few things that a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players don't understand is knowing your opponent's small quirks, knowing your opponent's small things, their faces, their actions, their options, because when your opponent draws a bad hand, they'll go set pass and then they'll give a sour face. But if they're playing, like, let's say crawlers, and they set pass and they have a smile on their face, well, then they're not bluffing, they're just happy. They know that they're playing crawlers. They know that they're going to profit off of you flipping their monster face up. Make sure that you know what your opponent's playing. Make sure that you know how your opponent's playing, because it is very important to notate exactly how your opponent is as a person. Playtesting is very important for any player, and I recommend that these are the best 3 options to do for a rogue player. If not, a good player always utilizes these options at any time. This is Prank Kid Duelist, making rogue meta. Have a wonderful day.